Samit, Nitin, Carol, thank you so much for coming for this session. And I have always been curious, Nitin, what would be the top 2 or 3 reasons why you decided to join Ujjivan?
So, the biggest reason, of course, to join Ujjivan was Mr. Ghosh himself, and my first meeting with him, which inspired me to, look at professional life differently. And then during that conversation, I discovered, and of course afterwards, there was a lot of reading that I did, and Mr. Ghosh also helped me with a lot of content, relevant content that I could go through. But the biggest thing that came out was that Ujjivan is a very purpose-driven organization, and all our people in Ujjivan are extremely passionate and committed about just a purpose for which we, have functioned for all these years as a finance company and even now as a bank. There was absolute clarity in terms of what the bank wants to do as a large retail mass market bank, catering to the aspiring middle class, serving the underserved and the unserved. And that really registered very well with me, and I could see myself associating with that.
So it's good to know that Ujjivan is a great place to work, even for the leadership and the CEOs. And Samit, coming back to you, I know that you have worked in India, you have worked outside, you have worked for many multinationals. Very few people know that your initial contribution to retail banking in HDFC Bank, for example, you were probably in Muscat, if I'm not mistaken, and then you came to India to start Ujjivan, and that was a huge transformation. And from day one, what was very interesting was to see that you were so focused on not just the business success and the foundation that Nitin talks about, but also how can it be a great place to work for everyone. So help us understand that story and the genesis of Ujjivan a little bit better.
Thanks, Prasenjit. Actually, Ujjivan is my second mountain. I'd worked for 30 years as a banker with some great institutions and some not so great institutions. So there were a lot of learnings from that. And then I felt that, as Nitin talked about, that I should really build an organization which is driven by a purpose, and purpose which is sort of close to my heart. That is to provide financial inclusion to the vast numbers of people in India who are financially excluded. So that was the matter of the heart, but there was also a professional challenge that I would be able to bring in all the experience I had gained over 30 years and use that experience to, successfully launch Ujjivan, especially from the perspective of technology, because there was always, people always said we could not serve the people who are poor because it was not a viable proposition. And I wanted to prove that it could be done in a viable manner. But along with that, when we built Ujjivan, we felt that we should take in all what is the positive things which we have from various organizations and discard the negative. And one of the positive things which I was felt strongly about is that Ujjivan should be serve multiple stakeholders. Not just one stakeholder, which is a shareholder, but multiple stakeholders, in which obviously the customer is very important, the employees are very important. The shareholders are obviously very important. The community you work in is very important. The regulators are very important. So that we should be the best for all of them, And having worked so many years in various institutions, a lot of people pay lip service to being a good organization for the people, but they are not I mean, when you come down to the core, I mean, you don't find that they're that genuine, you know. So in the sense that we firmly believe that the employees are a very, I mean, as important a stakeholder to us as a customer or a shareholder, you know. So that and in your entire policy, culture, everything you build around an organization, then you work on that basis. So that was very important for us. But we had a challenge at that time is that, you know, when we started in 2005, there were a lot of startups, a lot of IT companies, and, you know, very difficult to get hold of good HR people, you know. So we then said, you know, why don't we sort of try and benchmark ourselves against the best in the industry, you know. I mean, fundamentally, we believe that, you know, if you, in a service business, if you take care of your employees will take care of your customers. And the customers, if they are happy, they will take care of your investors. You know, it's a very simple equation. And we firmly believe in that philosophy, you know. So to us, the employees, the customer, the investor, and along with that regulator, the society we work in, are all extremely important, equally important, I would say.
Right.
And we strive to be the best for each of them.
You know, it was fascinating for us to see that a microfinance organization serving the poorest of people not only build a very robust and strong business, but actually is ahead of so many others and so many multinationals in financial services who presumably have a far higher capacity to pay. And that is when we realize that the value of purpose and how having your talent pool, which is aligned with your business model, and why not everybody needs to go to Ivy League institutes, and how people from humble backgrounds can actually create great institutions and great organizations. In fact, single-handedly, Samit, the kind of work that Ujjivan did got us so many other microfinance organizations. In fact, so much so that I heard some people saying that microfinance is a great industry to, you know, and for people to really enjoy their work, and which was very, very surprising to me because uh, the success of Ujjivan as a great workplace actually changed how people viewed microfinance as a destination for talent. And the question that I wanted to ask you, Carol, is that through the last decade or more, uh, microfinance has gone through ups and downs. And we know how difficult things could be. And I remember at least 2 or 3 instances when many organizations were close to probably either closing down or being acquired. What were those challenging moments? And if you look at your 10-year plus journey as a great place to work, were there any turning points where things became very difficult? And what did you do in those turning points? And are there any lessons?
Prasenjit, firstly, thank you for giving us a platform where we can assess the satisfaction levels of our employees. Some of the things that we do as an organization is that we treat our people with respect. We involve our people in all that we do, and we treat them as equals. Now, some of the defining moments where these came into play was first during our microfinance crisis in 2010-11. That was a time where there was a lot of happenings in the industry, and there was a lot of things that was going around about microfinance. But we stayed put. There were clear directions, instructions given to us, and that is what we followed. Those were very simple. First is to take care of our employees, and the simple task that we did there is to ensure that our staff salaries were paid on time. Secondly, we ensured that our repayments to the financial institutions and banks were paid on time. The most important thing that we also did was ensure that our customers would be given loans on a timely basis. And we also ensure that our repayments to landlords and their rentals were also paid. That was one clear thing that we did. The second was a very clear communication right from the top. Mr. Ghosh sent out a personal letter to all employees across the organization, giving them a very clear understanding of the situation that we are in and our roadmap, and we stuck to it. Mr. Ghosh, along with a lot of the senior leadership team members, went around to branches, talking to them, understanding their challenges, and giving them the assurance and the support. So communication was very important. Involvement with the teams across all levels was very important. One thing that we did uniquely was that we moved all our employees from the roles of a microfinance institution to the roles of a bank. And we took up a lot of training related programs. They were not very clear as to what they would be doing once we become a bank. So a lot of communication programs, training programs, both internally and externally, involving them step by step in all that we did, helped us take our employees through one phase to another, and you've seen our success as a bank.
Wow. And that's such an amazing transformation, because when that license came to you, a lot of people thought that, okay, how can a microfinance company transform into a bank, which is a very different cup of tea? I think the quality of conversation was just great, as is to be only expected. So Samit, Carol, Nitin, all three of you, thank you so much